It started with a bit of flash and spectacle, the launch and growth of AI, but that's slowly been replaced by skepticism and distrust. Paradoxically, though, we see that distrust becoming more vocal while adoption of the technology still increases. In this week's deep dive, based on the Data Pro newsletter from the 20th of May 2026, we're taking a look at the need to set clear boundaries and understanding what AI can deliver to help make sure it goes from risky novelty to a viable infrastructure asset. And don't forget to check out the audio podcast version of this as well. It's available on all podcast platforms, and for those that are interested, it offers a much deeper dive for data professionals.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a step back from the exhausting daily hype of AI tooling to look at what's really happening beneath the surface. 3 years out from that huge ChatGPT moment that completely rewired corporate ambitions, a very real reckoning is underway. We're unpacking an incredibly insightful report from datapro.news called The Trust Deficit. And to help cut through the noise, we'll be keeping things visually clean, sharp, and focused on the facts. So, let's dive right in.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the AI trust paradox, examine the architecture of distrust, explore what's known as the AI tax, uncover the math behind model collapse, expose some hidden shadow AI risks, and finally, resolve it all with provenance.
Section 1. The AI trust paradox. Distrust is up, but so is usage. Public sentiment toward AI has, well, genuinely curdled. Look at these numbers. They're pretty stark. Right now, 46% of registered voters actually hold negative feelings toward artificial intelligence. Only 26% are reporting a positive outlook. And even more strikingly, well over half, 57% to be exact, believe the risks of AI fundamentally outweigh its benefits. The enthusiasm has definitively cooled off. But here is the wild paradox. Despite all those negative feelings, usage of platforms like ChatGPT actually climbed to 56% by March 2026. People deeply distrust the technology, yet platform usage just steadily climbs. So this isn't a story about people abandoning AI, it's a story about a massive lack of accountability. We're using these tools because we have to, or because they're useful for specific tasks, but we don't actually trust the systems powering them.
Section 2. The architecture of distrust. Let's look at why this backlash is completely systemic. Have you heard of AI washing? Researchers at Sabanji University identified this, and it's fascinating. It basically comes down to the deliberate, or sometimes just totally negligent, exaggeration of a system's intelligence. It's when a company dresses up basic, old-school, rules-based logic and tries to sell it to the public as autonomous, adaptive reasoning. It is overpromising on a massive scale.
And naturally, that leads straight to the inevitable fallout. AI booing. This is the totally predictable public rejection that hits when those inflated upstream claims completely fail in live production. When the promised magic turns out to be just a buggy script, the cycle of mistrust becomes entirely self-reinforcing. Users absolutely notice when a tool doesn't live up to the hype, and they react. But you see, the backlash isn't just a PR problem anymore. It's hitting hard physical limits. The rapid massive expansion of hyperscale data centers has triggered real-world water shortages, along with surging utility bills in the affected communities. Because of this, project cancellations across several markets have actually quadrupled. We are literally seeing U.S. state legislatures considering moratoriums on new data facility construction. Moving into 2026, this is a very real, tangible regulatory risk.
Now, let this number sink in for a second. 95%. According to research from SureBright, 95% of enterprise AI pilot projects fail to yield any meaningful revenue growth, and that is despite over $40 billion in generative AI investments. The gap between boardroom expectations and operational reality is just vast. It's not a communications issue, it is fundamentally a massive data problem.
Moving to Section 3. Paying the AI tax. The data practitioner's burden.
The core bottleneck here is staggering. A massive 81% of AI professionals report significant, totally unresolved data quality problems right within their organization's core data storage systems. Practitioners have started calling this the AI tax. It's the painful reality that the second models move out of these pristine, perfect test sandboxes and into live production, the pipelines just fail.
Why do they fail? Well, because data in the wild is messy, it's contested, it's politically loaded. Teams are constantly battling upstream data quality issues. Highly inconsistent master data definitions, totally missing process logs, and fragmented shadow pipelines that run completely outside of centralized governance. The AI boom didn't fix these fundamental data hygiene problems. It literally just amplified them. Which leads us to the absolute nightmare scenario for data teams: silent failures. We're talking about statistical data drift events or unexpected schema changes. Basically, the format of your incoming data suddenly shifts. The terrifying part? These don't trigger traditional pipeline alarms. The pipeline technically keeps running perfectly fine, but the accuracy of the downstream AI output is quietly destroyed. This is exactly why there's this urgent, massive push to shift from standard batch monitoring to real-time data observability. You have to catch these invisible pipeline killers.
Section 4. Threat of model collapse. Let's look at the mathematics of recursive decay.
So we are currently facing a highly insidious technical risk: AI models consuming their own synthetic outputs. Research out of UC San Diego formalized this mathematically, stating, as recursive training generations increase, variance in generated data asymptotically decays towards zero. Okay, actually, let's put that in plain English. By the third or fourth generation of an AI training on AI-generated data, rare tail events like complex financial anomalies or unusual customer behaviors are progressively erased. The model literally forgets that edge cases exist. To stop this from happening, organizations have to maintain what researchers call a non-shrinking real data anchor. Basically, you need strict automated ingestion ratios. Think of it like this: ensuring that at least 70% of the training data is verified human data and capping synthetic data at 30%. You can definitely add synthetic data to expand capabilities, but the absolute volume of real-world human-generated data must never decrease.
Section 5. Shadow AI and agentic risks. The invisible enterprise breach.
We really need to draw a sharp distinction here. For the last decade, we all worried about shadow IT, right? Unauthorized hardware or apps that security teams could usually detect via access controls. Shadow AI is a completely different beast. This is sensitive corporate data leaving the organization through behaviors that look entirely normal to a firewall. It's an employee pasting text into a public summarization tool or using some unapproved browser extension. It bypasses old security assumptions entirely because to the system, it just looks like regular web traffic.
And that threat radically escalates when we introduce agent AI. Researchers at Zscaler uncovered autonomous agents embedded directly inside trusted corporate SaaS environments. Think tools like Microsoft Copilot or Salesforce Einstein. Because these agents operate with user-level permissions, they can autonomously read, summarize, and transmit sensitive enterprise data without any deliberate action by the employee. Traditional data loss prevention tools just weren't designed to monitor non-human agents operating with human credentials.
So how do we practically contain this without just driving the behavior underground? Teams need a structured 30-day program. Days 1 through 10 establish real-time enterprise visibility over every single AI endpoint being accessed. Days 11 through 20 implement inline inspection of AI-directed traffic to block proprietary data from leaving the boundary. And the final phase, replace blanket prohibitions with role-based access and safe, sanctioned alternatives. Let's be real, if you just ban it outright, employees are just going to hide it. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, Provenance, the trust metric, how we restore accountability. The industry has historically totally underemphasized the vital distinction here. Standard data lineage tracks how data flows and transforms. It's essentially a travel itinerary. But data provenance? Provenance is a birth certificate. It tracks exactly where the data originated, under what specific consent conditions, and whether it has been mathematically altered along the way. In an environment that is currently demanding absolute accountability, provenance is quite literally the only way forward. The good news, the tools to do this exist right now. We're looking at frameworks like C2PA, cryptographic manifests, and zero-knowledge machine learning proofs. Essentially, these tools allow organizations to provide mathematically verifiable evidence of a piece of data's authenticity and human origin. Regulators, consumers, and investors alike are all making this kind of proven provenance the primary unit of trust moving forward. Which leaves us with the most important question of all. If an auditor walked in today and demanded you demonstrate the exact origin of a live AI decision, can you actually prove your AI outputs? Not just explain them away, prove them. It's a really tough question, but answering it is the only way your organization will survive the AI backlash. Thanks for exploring this with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for checking this out today. Don't forget you can connect with other data professionals worldwide on our growing school platform. It's all linked in the description, so pop along, come in, have a chat, and check out the exclusive resources there for data professionals like you. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to like, share, or subscribe to the channel.